Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartiya, and we are here at Kubecon in Seattle. And today we have with us Stephan Fabel, your Director of Products at Canonical. Can you tell about what is Canonical doing, and where it is heading?
Well, I mean, Canonical has always been about the user and the developer first, right? So we want to enable innovation at all levels, including on the desktop as well as in the cloud. We've been early investors in the cloud. We're one of the most popular server distributions in the world, having the largest stake in the public clouds because we offer a fully featured operating system that is what developers want. It comes with all the tools, etc. So when the on-prem cloud movement started and said, okay, well, we have to do what AWS and Microsoft and Google are doing, in the public space, we want to replicate the same thing locally. We immediately jumped on board, became founding members, invested a lot of time and engineering in, making OpenStack what it is today, including ancillary technologies, as you mentioned, such as SAF. So our focus has always been on the application orchestration, however, and so Kubernetes fits very nicely into that game. So it's a step up from just bare IaaS, just network compute storage as a service, and going into tying the developer closely or more closely to the infrastructure that's being consumed. And so that is right where we fit in. We saw our home there quite some time ago. We invested a lot in Linux containers and Linux technology around containerization. And so, Kubernetes was kind of a natural fit. So for us, it's really about multi-cloud enablement, having developers be able to deploy in the same exact way locally as they can do in a public cloud, whether that's on the workstation or that is on the on-prem stack that they have deployed, or that is any of the Kubernetes services that they can consume. So yeah, that's basically the evolution, I would say.
If you compare Ubuntu or the Kubernetes offering, one of the strengths of Canonical was that anyone can take Ubuntu, start using it, and then I met a lot of customers who the reason they picked Ubuntu was that there was a very clear path of becoming a paid customers.
Correct.
As compared to RHEL or SUSE, where different products. So when we look at the Kubernetes space, that is not the case. You cannot just have a free version of Kubernetes offering from Canonical and then become a paid. So how
you can.
So tell us about that. How do you try to maintain the same kind of product offering?
No, it's always been the case that you can deploy our OpenStack completely for free, and you can deploy our Kubernetes completely free. The cost of our Kubernetes is $0, just to be clear. It's included in our Ubuntu Advantage support offering. So, you become a member of that Ubuntu Advantage program. It's a per node pricing, and Kubernetes support and OpenStack support is included.
But you have to be, member of that program, which is a paid program.
That is, yes. I mean, it's always been true that if you want commercial support, then you'd have to pay for that.
Right.
That is very true. But if you just want to use Kubernetes, as a developer, or you just want to try it out and set it up, there's plenty of CDK, charmed distribution of Kubernetes users out there who just do that.
Right.
And then later, when they roll out into more serious production, then become customers at that point.
And since we are here at Kubecon, and I'm sure that Canonical came up with a lot of announcements and news, so which one are the top pick from, that you have like, oh, this is the most critical announcement that we're making here?
Yeah, indeed. We actually had more announcements last week than there were days. So there's plenty of stuff to talk about. I think from a technology perspective, I'm mostly excited about MicroK8s.
Mm-hmm.
MicroK8s is a small form factor, zero ops Kubernetes distribution that you can just install with a single command line on 42 flavors of Linux. It comes with a lot of features. It has its own registry that you can enable. You can enable ingress, you can enable Istio, you can enable GPU pass-through the way that it is meant to be. It exposes all of those functionality with a simple command. It is confined in the sense that it runs its own container daemon, it runs its own kubectl, so everything is just inside that snap. You can reset it if you're done with it, and it doesn't require a VM to be hooked up, so it consumes less resources on your machine. Our users have been saying that MicroK8s is one of the smoothest ways to install Kubernetes on a desktop, and indeed, it shouldn't take you longer than 30 seconds to have a fully conformant Kubernetes in the latest version. So we released the version 1.13, which then installs Kubernetes 1.13 just 4 days after the upstream release of Kubernetes 1.13. Then we also announced today our availability of our charmed distribution of Kubernetes, which is the cluster version of Kubernetes. You can deploy that anywhere in the latest version of 1.13 as well. So for those customers who like to keep up to date with the latest features for Kubernetes, they have that available within a week of the upstream release. That has been announced today and is compatible with all the major clouds, substrates, and also on bare metal. It also comes with a bunch of new features around secrets management. We have Vault integration, we have LDAP integration, and GPU pass-through. So there's a whole bunch of work that we're trying to do to make sure that if you have GPU-dependent workloads, that they run smoothly, whether on the workstation or on your premise cluster.
And you are also supporting ARM on.
We are, yes, we're very proud of that. We've been putting ARM as a first-class citizen in our development work for a long time. It has a long history with Ubuntu server being compatible with ARM for quite some time, and now we've also done the work with Kubernetes. And we also already have customers who are using that at great scale.
So what kind of customers are using ARM?
Well, the use cases that we're seeing right now is ARM64 using less power being an attractive solution for edge cloud deployments. So we've seen great success with our distribution of Kubernetes in those edge cloud use cases.
One of the cases that I am interested in, I also as a science fiction writer, is machine learning. So what is Canonical's strategy towards machine learning? I'm not talking about you build machine learning framework, but as a workload.
Sure. So we have been with Kubeflow for quite a long time. In fact, when Kubeflow was announced, we were at the same time coordinating very, very closely with Google to also then at the same time announce our tutorial for how to get started with Kubeflow. And we've been a big developer advocate around Kubeflow and the use of Kubeflow, have a great focus on the community, as well as making that as smooth as possible on our distribution of Kubernetes, charmed Kubernetes. So the whole value add of our distribution then comes out of the GPU enablement and the ability to really say, I'm deploying the same Kubeflow environments, whether they are on-prem or they're on my laptop, or they are in the public clouds, or even any of the Kubernetes services that are out there. So for example, our NVIDIA GPU enablement is identical to what you would get if you did that on GKE. So our customers and our developers can actually rest assured that if they choose Ubuntu with charmed Kubernetes or with microcades, that they are running at basically what I would call almost 100% compatibility, because it's literally the same stack. Ubuntu as a base OS plus a conformant Kubernetes on top, that they run in any of those circumstances, and that is true for all major Kubernetes offerings. We're very excited to also announce our 2 hardware partnerships with Dell and Supermicro. Both of them have been excellent partners of ours, where we just announced reference architectures with, and it's a big deal, for us to be able to say to a customer, hey, here's a reference architecture, here's a BOM, you get this hardware and you're certified to run our distribution, GPU enabled, here's an out-of-the-box machine learning reference architecture. So we're very proud of that fact. It's been a lot of work to get that out, and it just exhibits the kind of focus we put on Kubernetes and machine learning in particular.
Thanks for talking to us today, and of course we'll see you again at the next conferences.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you
so much.